President Trump's price gouging negotiation trick. The unimaginable price gouging that makes the other side lower the price but still have to pay a high price when reaching an agreement is the method that US President Donald Trump is applying in resolving the Ukraine conflict. On February 28, US time, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Washington, D.C. to hold talks with President Trump regarding the mineral exploitation cooperation agreement between the two sides, as part of the roadmap to find peace for the Ukraine conflict. Mr. Trump's move. In a press conference on February 27 in Kyiv before leaving for the US, Mr. Zelensky said that the framework of the above agreement had been reached, but did not include US security guarantees, which Kyiv considered important. According to him, the full details of the agreement may depend on the negotiations in Washington, D.C. Looking back at the journey to this agreement, on February 13, the US revealed a phone call between President Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin about a peaceful solution for Ukraine. The solution was revealed to be based on a realistic assessment of the battlefield, and Washington signaled that there was no need for the presence of Europe and Ukraine when negotiating with Russia. In addition, President Trump also accused Ukraine and the West of causing the conflict to erupt, even criticizing Mr. Zelensky as a dictator. Later, although admitting that Russia attacked Ukraine, the owner of the White House still said that Mr. Zelensky and Western leaders did not prevent the war from breaking out. In addition, speaking at the Munich Security Forum, Germany, US Vice President J.D. Vance strongly criticized Europe. The US's moves put Europe and Ukraine at risk of being left out of the agreement to resolve the conflict in Ukraine. At the same time, Mr. Trump proposed that Kyiv sign a cooperation agreement with Washington in exploiting minerals, especially rare earths, in Ukraine. Mr. Trump said that this agreement would allow the US to recover the money it spent on Ukraine in the conflict with Russia. Mr. Trump even said that he had to collect $500 billion United States dollars through this agreement, while Ukraine considered the initial proposal of the agreement to be unfeasible. Excessive demands to find the best benefits. Responding to Than Neen, a US military intelligence expert, who used to head NATO's intelligence unit in the Balkans, commented, "Through the way Mr. Trump expressed himself, we can see his familiar negotiation tactics. That is, making unexpected statements, then switching from praise to insult and vice versa. It seems that President Trump believes that in negotiations, demanding more than possible will open the door to getting the best possible from the other side." In fact, after a period of bargaining back and forth, President Zelensky had to agree to the above framework even though there was no provision to ensure security for Ukraine as Kyiv wanted. At the same time, leaders of European countries such as French President Emmanuel Macron had to go to the US to find ways to appease Mr. Trump, while also lobbying for Europe not to be left out in the Ukraine issue. Next, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also went to the US to meet Mr. Trump on February 27, Washington, D.C. time, with the same purpose of finding a common voice. Not only that, European countries also announced an increase in defense budgets as a move to respond to Mr. Trump's request to contribute more to security for Europe in general, or the Ukraine issue in particular. Meanwhile, in a television interview, Russian President Vladimir Putin, although highly appreciating the White House's moves, was still cautious, saying that the Ukraine conflict would be difficult to end as soon as Mr. Trump wanted. Russia-China relations reach unprecedented level. US imposes additional tariffs on China. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu in Beijing on February 28. The Global Times reported, noting that China and Russia are friendly neighbors and true friends. Xi said he and Russian President Vladimir Putin had been in touch twice this year, outlining overall plans for the development of China-Russia relations and had in-depth exchanges on a range of important international and regional issues. Shoigu also affirmed that Moscow highly values its sincere friendship and close relationship with Xi. According to Shoigu, the relationship between Russia and China has reached an unprecedented high level. President Trump said on February 27 that he would keep plans to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and add an additional 10% tariff on goods from China. The new tariffs on Chinese goods will be added to the 10% tariffs that have been in place since February 4, meaning the US has added tariffs on imports from China twice since Trump took office. In addition, Trump also announced that he would maintain the 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, which was scheduled to take effect on March 4. The new tariffs on China will also take effect on the same day. Zelensky arrives in the UK after a heated exchange of words with President Trump. President Volodymyr Zelensky's plane is en route to London. According to flight tracking platform FlightAware, the plane is expected to land at Stansted Airport in London at 11 a.m. local time on the 1st of March. Zelensky confirmed that he will be arriving in London after his visit to the US at a press conference on the 26th of February. He is scheduled to attend a summit with European leaders hosted by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the 2nd of March to discuss joint defence and security plans. In a statement on the evening of the 28th of February, Starmer confirmed that he had spoken to both the US and Ukrainian presidents after a heated exchange between the two sides at the White House. According to the BBC, Starmer has maintained his steadfast support for Ukraine. The February 28 Oval Office press conference between President Zelensky and President Trump ended with a heated argument over US aid to Ukraine, leading to the cancellation of a planned mineral exploration deal between the two countries. On February 28, several European leaders reaffirmed their support for Ukraine and President Zelensky, including Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, French President Emmanuel Macron, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and others. Russia is the aggressor and Ukraine is the attack party, Macron said. We were all right to help Ukraine and sanction Russia 3 years ago and will continue to do so. Meanwhile, Kaja Kallas, the European Union's top diplomat, said that it is clear that the free world needs new leadership. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock also said, Ukraine is not alone. Germany, together with our European allies, stands united with Ukraine and against Russian aggression. Statements from European leaders show the growing gap between them and their US allies regarding the Ukraine issue. This development makes the situation of the Russia-Ukraine war increasingly unpredictable. However, the question is whether the EU can fill the gap in military aid for Ukraine left by the US.